So we're back here, Cob Castle, here in Haslingden. And I always said I'd revisit this site because I did a video, 2 months ago, covering the story of Thomas and Margaret Dennison. Now, that day the weather weren't brilliant. I mean, it was wet, it was windy, the sound quality was poor because I didn't have a microphone plugged into the camera. So I always said I'd come when the weather's a bit better. The weather's a bit better. So we're here revisiting the story of Thomas and Margaret Dennison. Now, this story comes to a head during the late hours of Saturday, 9th of March 1907. It's a sad tale, and it's yet another one that occurred here on my doorstep in Helmshire and Haslingden. And it's one we're going to go through again and we're going to talk about, so enjoy. Right, now I have found something here which looks quite impressive. It's definitely the doorway of a building. Let's have a wander in, see what can, if there's anything else we can see. See, I wonder if this is used to be somebody's living room or kitchen. That's the doorway just there. Very small. If this would have been a room, because you can see the outer walls there. If this would have been a room, it would have been bloody small. I don't think it really takes you anywhere up there. So again, that could be another pathway leading through, because you can see some more walls there, definitely walls at the top. But yeah, this is a neat find. Again, like I say, that's what we've just walked through. Pretty cool. Let's keep going. Got to be careful where we stand around here, simply because there's a lot of loose stones. And if you can hear that in the background, that's just somebody playing on a bloody loud bike. So I'm hoping it doesn't interfere with the audio too much. But look at this. Right, we're going to make our way somehow just up here behind me. Let's see if we can get up there. Not the best of pathways to walk along. Let's have a look, see what we can do. Should be able to get up here, I think. And obviously climb up this way, see if we can get up. There she is, wifey, Mrs. Days of Horror. I think you might need some hands. Can't get up. Oh shit. Oh, hey. So you went that way the easy way. Right, so, again, I didn't actually come this far. Yeah, there is, isn't there? I'll have a look at that. But I actually didn't come this far up last time I came because, like I said, the weather, it was that bad that morning. Couldn't really get anywhere. But there's a lot more to see today. We had me falling everywhere. Just wondering what this is I've just spotted. That's just another wall. Right. Let's have a wander over here to see what Vicky's just spotted. What have you found? Now, the last video I did, Cob Castle, for those that may be watching this one, this is the point I did find. Now this has got a really neat looking, well, I think it's a cellar. if I can get to it. But it's quite a neat looking thing to find. I think it's further round. Well, this is what I mean about how dangerous it is. I mean, look at the state of the loose stones all around. But these, looking at it, these were definitely parts of the houses. And you have to remember that these houses were 3 stories high. Yeah, here we go, this is the basement. Well, I'm saying a basement, it could have been a cellar. Just down there. It's a bit creepy. Probably more creepy now than what it were when I came last time. Don't think I want to go under there, guys. So Vicky has found signs of recent settlement, and it's pretty cool really, because when you think about it, this was like late 1800s, early 1900s when people lived here and worked nearby. But obviously, as you can see all around us, it's just all, well, it's just all ruins, it's rubble now, isn't it? But it looks like somebody right in front of me has actually built some kind of canopy structure. They built a fireplace, they've got like I don't know what it is, some kind of seating area. I'll show you guys anyway. So as you can see, it's some kind of seat. They've obviously built some kind of fireplace. But what makes it kind of cool is somebody's actually reusing bricks and other bits and bats, you know, which have been here for well over 100 years. So they are making use of it. It's kind of weird, really. And it's in a quiet location. I mean, I can imagine being here in summertime. Just listen to the motorway in the background, nobody else around, and you're literally just having a few drinks over here, a fire lit, nice settled evening. I bet it's kind of nice here. But fair play to them, because they're obviously not making a mess, they're not damaging anything. Yeah, fair play. So let's be honest, you've come for the story of Thomas and Margaret Dennison, haven't you? I mean, those that have already seen the previous video all know about it anyway. Those that have been on the website, daysofhorror.com website, there's a lot more detail on it, to be fair, than probably what I'm going to talk about here. But that's what you've come for, ultimately, so let's get on with it. So basically, Saturday, 9th of March, 1907. Now, Thomas, he used to work over on the nearby reservoirs on Grain Road. He was helping build them at the time. Now, he'd left work, I think it was about midday that day, and he made his way home to here, number 10, Cob Castle. Now, that's where he lived. He lived on the 3rd floor with his wife, Margaret. So he's come home and he's then gone back out to do a few jobs for some friends who he worked with, moving some chicken coops, if you will, somewhere in this direction over at Hutch Bank and, you know, in that direction. But on his return home, again, he's gone with, I think, another couple of friends to his house, and his wife Margaret, I think she's in the kitchen, and now she used to go out and do the shop, if you will, you know, like the basics, the necessities, or whatever they needed. So Thomas gave her 8 shillings. Now, that afternoon, Thomas and his friends went to the Dyer's Arms pub, which is on Flip Road, which is just down Cob Castle, just down here. We're going to go there shortly anyway. But they went to the Dyer's Arms pub. Now, while he's there, he's had a few drinks. He's had 1 or 2 too many, like, obviously, you'd expect him to. Now, Margaret, meanwhile, was going to Haslingden to do the shopping, you know, to get the basics, as I've just said. But she's not done that. She's actually gone and she's spent the money on booze herself. She's made her way then to the Dyer's Arms on Flip Road, worse for her, she's drenched because apparently all day it did nothing but rain. It rained into the late evening, she was drenched. So the landlord of the Dyer's Arms put her in the back room and said, look, wait here, I'll go and get you a Thomas. Thomas, obviously, he's had a few too many, he's a bit, you know, well, she shouldn't be here, blah, 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 spoiling my fun. So anyway, so he's gone in, he's got her out the pub, and as they started to leave the pub to come up Cob Castle, he started laying into her. He started giving her a couple of punches, he slaps her on the face, pushed her to the ground. Now, a lot of witnesses came out, they told him to stop. They said, look, can you stop what you're doing? Because obviously, it's your wife at the end of the day, what are you doing? And he's threatened them, he said, look, carry on, I'll do the same to her, I'll do the same to you, what I'm doing to her, basically. So anyway, so they've carried on walking up Cob Castle Lane here, heading towards home. Again, he's constantly beating her, he's constantly punching her. And that was that until the early hours of the 10th. Sunday 10th of March. Now Thomas has woken up and Margaret's nowhere to be seen, so panicking he's left the house. He's come down here, I'll just show you guys. He's made his way down here, and now there is a well I'm going to take you to in a minute, and the well plays a very important role in the story. But just past this well, poor Margaret was lying on her back, shawl was halfway up the pathway, her bonnet, her shawl, all that kind of thing was, like I said, they were nowhere near her. It's like they had a scuffle and it fallen on the floor. So Thomas has found Margaret lying on the floor just down here, down at this point. He's panicked, he's gone back to number 10, he's got the, obviously people who live at the lower ground, the lower floor if you will, out, told them the story, and he's been told you must go to Haslingden, you must find a police constable and own up to what's happened, because obviously people had seen him beaten the night before. So he's gone back to Haslingden in that direction, and he's come across the first police officer that he could, and he's told him what he'd found, his wife lying on the floor. Now, when he was arrested, the first thing he said is she did it to herself, nothing to do with Thomas, he was panicking. But obviously the witnesses all corroborated the beatings that he gave to Margaret and whatnot. So it basically didn't have a leg to stand on. Now, when the police came up Cob Castle Lane and they did investigations, they do some sketches, and I'll put them here now for you to see. Now, these sketches show the locations of where Margaret was found and where she was beaten, and I'll show you guys now. So as you can see, Margaret was lying roughly around this point here, not far from the well, just round about this location. Now, there would have been a wall here at the time. You've got the wall here. Now, if you look at the photograph that I'm going to put on now, you will see the left hand side of the wall, and then to the right you'll see another wall, and it was round about here where X marks the spot where poor Margaret was found slumped. Now, the well we're telling you about is just up here, and like I said, this well kind of plays an important role in this story because it was here where she was last seen alive by residents of Cob Castle, who obviously roll up in this direction. I mean, it's not really flowing right much at the moment, but yeah, this is the well where Thomas and Margaret basically parted ways. I mean, this is where she was last seen alive after the beatings. Now, it's hard to say if the well, if she was leaning at this side at well, maybe at the back of the well over here. It's hard to say which side, but yeah, it was definitely this part where she was last seen alive. Poor Margaret. And I'd say it was round about, maybe a bit further back. Looking at it, let's just see. Let's just line the shots up. I think now that's probably about right. You've got the wall to the left. There would have been another wall to the right with a well just about there. Now, Margaret's body was found roughly this location, I would say, not far. Right, so I've ended up climbing somewhere really I shouldn't have done. I've literally walked across this line here. I thought it's a bit blurry. Literally walked across there because there is structures here of some form of building, pathway, whatnot, and I've got myself into a bit of a pickle trying to get out. As you can see, my wife's just over there in the distance, and I've got to somehow get down through all this without killing myself. So let's give it a go. Some of the things I do for this channel, anyway, it's all fun. Bloody hell, and props to the first person to stand on these foundations, these ruins, since Margaret and Thomas were both alive. Christ. But yeah, there's some kind of outer wall here. Now these structures I never actually saw when we did the first video, but there's something definitely going on here. There's a hole in the wall there, and there's some kind of hole just there. Don't know if I can make it out, round about there. But something's definitely gone on here in the past. Let's have a walk up this way. Yeah, I don't think I want to get down there. Definitely structures. So yeah, so we're here on Cob Castle. Oh, this is neat. I wonder if that used to be some kind of fireplace or something. Yeah, so like I was just saying, guys, we're here, and as you can see, we can see a hell of a lot more today. Couldn't see anything when I did the last video, but I'm pleased to say that there's a lot of foundations still here to come and see. So if you're local to the area, or you fancy to drive out, get to the College Industrial Estate and get onto Cob Castle. It's a fascinating place. I'm not sure if the camera's picking this up right well, but just here, there's some kind of doorway, hallway, maybe. Let's have a wander through it, see what we can see. Oh, sinking. Some kind of structure anyway, and you've also got something going under the wall there. I'm gonna have a quick pop over and see what that is. Move all this. There's literally decades of peat and moss under my feet. I'm sinking here. Just gotta be careful in case I go through a loose floor. Oh my god. That is creepy. Mate, this is creepy. My god, what is that? That is deep. It goes right down. I can see the floor just. You've got stone plinths, if they will, going across there and there. Don't think the camera light's going to do much. That is crazy. That goes right back, guys, right back. I haven't got a clue of what that would be, because you've got a wall here, wall there. It's not a basement, there's no steps. So God knows what that would have been. If anybody watching this is into history and old buildings, maybe the history of Haslingden, and they know what that is. I mean, it doesn't look like a basement or a cellar, but if anybody knows what it is, can they comment down below? But that is creepy. So I'm not going to lie, that is an amazing find here at Cob Castle. Highly dangerous. Don't let kids get anywhere near it. That is deep. And like I said, I don't know what it is. Is it a cellar? God, I nearly went then. But is it a cellar? Is it a basement? If anybody knows the history, oh my God, found another one. Found another one. Let's have a look. This is what we do it for, though. Find these things. I'm not going to go in, guys, so don't ask me. Ooh, wee. Let's have a look at this. Now then, you see what I'm seeing? Now this looks like it leads into where we've just been, you know, the other side. But that is creepy. Now I'm saying this is possibly a lower floor of the house. I mean, look at the shelf. I'm not sure it's picking up, but there's definitely a shelf going all the way across there. Oh no, there's a wall there. So it is bricked off. No, I can just make out the shelf. So I wonder what this is. Is this maybe a kitchen? Is it a basement from one of the houses? But again, another sweet find. So it's not just about murders, guys, on this channel. We also uncover remnants of the past. Still there today. So now you're probably all wondering, well, why didn't the people who came out to help Margaret take her in? You know, why didn't they take her into a house to look after her? Now, you've got to remember, Victorian times, life was harsh. You know, beatings, I bet there were 2 to a penny. The stories I've covered, the stories that you've listened to, there's a lot of this goes on, a lot of abuse, domestic abuse, still goes on to this day, which is sad. But Victorian times, it was rife. It really was rife. So I can kind of guess and understand why, you know, the witnesses didn't actually take Margaret in that night. They just don't want to get involved, basically. They had their own issues to worry about. But they did try and help. They got her off the ground. They kept begging Thomas to stop the beatings, but he wouldn't listen to them. And it was up this lane where Thomas, obviously, that's where he left her. Now, don't get me wrong, he never left her to die. You know, I mean, he was drunk. I'm not trying to excuse him. I'm not trying to say what he did was right, because it wasn't. You know, beating another person, especially the opposite sex, doesn't matter if you're man or woman, you don't do it. You just don't do it, you know. So as for Margaret, the autopsy took place, and when the surgeon came to perform that, it wasn't pretty. Her scalp was crushed to a pulpy state. That's how bad it was. The beatings were so severe that obviously when Thomas was committing them back on this lane, he didn't realise the extent of what he was doing. Now, the surgeon who performed the autopsy at the time said it looked like a boot had been put in, not once, but several times, to obviously lead to the mess in which Margaret was in. She had cuts to her arms, her hands, the rest of her body, bruised. There was a lot of bruising as well. But ultimately, obviously, you know, it wasn't a nice sight. Now, Thomas would later be charged with the willful murder of his wife, Margaret. So on the 22nd of April, 1907, Thomas would appear at the Manchester Assizes, charged with the willful murder of his wife, Margaret. Now, after hearing all the evidence and everything else put before him, the judge, Mr. Pope, he basically found Thomas guilty of manslaughter. It wasn't willful murder, it was manslaughter. He didn't realise what he was doing. But believe it or not, this is the twist to it. And I can't, my mind blows with this one. But he actually said, in summing it up, that he thought, the judge actually thought that Margaret herself was possible, or possibly culpable, in the events that transpired that evening. basically it was her fault that she was killed at the hands of her husband, simply because she'd had a few drinks. How does that work? I mean, you've got two people, husband and wife, both had a few drinks, both were drunk. Okay, she might have spent the money on drink, and obviously it's enraged Thomas because he'd give her the money to buy the necessities for the house and she's blown it on ale. But you can't blame, surely you can't blame Margaret for the events that would then take place shortly after. She was drunk, he was drunk. You don't kill somebody just for spending the money. But that is what the judge said. He thought she was partly responsible for the events that led to her death. It's just crazy, it's mind-blowing. But anyway, I want to take you down the end of Cob Castle now, and I'll show you where the beatings originally took place. Right, where Vicky stood now, just here, that's exactly one of the spots to the inch. That's how confident I am. That is one of the spots where Margaret was attacked on 9th of March 1907 by Thomas. That is where she was slumped against the wall at one point, and she was picked up by a lady called Sarah, picked up back to her feet. They carried on walking further up to where that car is, just probably slightly further back, and that is the second part of the attack which happened on Margaret. Now we can verify this because of this hole in the wall. Can you just, I don't know if you can make it out, but just behind these bushes, I can't really see it, but yeah, just here and down here, there's a hole in the wall, just down there. Plays an important role in this story, because we can match up an old photograph, a crime scene photo, based just on that alone, and I'll put that over at the top now. But that hole in the wall is exactly perfect with the photograph. So it was this point here, like I said, where Margaret was attacked, with the second attack taking place just up there, which then leads on to Cob Castle over here where the houses were. Right, we're going to take you to where the Dyer's Arms pub was on Flip Road, and it's just directly in front of me. Now Flip Road, like I said, it's not really a long road, it's not a long street by any means, but round here, this is where a lot of industry took place. You had Hutchbank Mill, you had plenty of other mills in the distance round here. It's all changed now, obviously. But this is where they all used to come, all the workers, once they finished the day at the mill, they'd come to the Dyer's Arms pub, which was just on the corner down here. Now, obviously there's nothing there now, it's all changed. Like I said, we've got a bypass running overhead now. Instead, it used to be a railway back in the day. But like I said, it's just all gone, it's all changed. But I'll show you guys now where the Dyer's Arms pub used to be. So right in the corner here where these trees are, like I said, that is where the Dyer's Arms pub used to be. That's where it was located. It would probably set quite a little bit further back than where these trees are now, maybe just where the entrance of the bridge is, just further back, but that is where Dyer's Arms pub were, and that's where Thomas and Margaret were last seen drinking before the events took place back in the day. Now, it was 8 PM that night when they left the pub. I'm thinking it was mainly around about here, this area, but that is where the pub was. But like I said, they left the pub at 8 PM that evening, and then they've made their way from the pub, I'd say about here, and they've walked up Cob Castle Lane. But this is Flip Road, all through here. This is Flip Road. We're going to go down there shortly. But Cob Castle, so what they did, they've left the pub here, they've walked up. The beatings have taken place just further up where we've just shown you, where Vicky was kindly modelling for us, just at the distance. Then obviously they've walked into the tree line further round, and that's obviously where they lived at number 10 Cob Castle Lane. Right, so yeah, so that is where the Dyer's Arms pub were. Now I don't know if a lot of you know Haslingden or know Helmshore, but it's littered with history. It really is. You know, we've got architecture everywhere. We've got buildings, like you've just seen on Cob Castle. Obviously, we've got the ruins. It's everywhere. I mean, it was a major industrial cotton place, woolen place back in the day. You've got Higher Mill for a start. Like I said, you used to have all the mills behind me, Hutch Bank Mill. I mean, obviously a lot of these places have gone, but there's still artifacts, there's still remnants of these places still there. And you just have to get out and look. And I keep saying this in videos, just get out, adventure, wherever you live. I'm not saying Haslingden, I'm sure, but wherever you live, you just get out, you get looking, just open your eyes and you see these things. Tell your own stories. I mean, we've got here, Holden Bridge, actual sign, just running across. You've got Springmail Ville just in front of me, which is there. So Flip Road, as you can see, it actually isn't that much of a road. It literally is from here just to where the bridge is that we just walked through. It's not the biggest road, but this is Flip Road. This is what was called Flip Road. Right, while I'm here, there's a little area, there's a place called Charles Lane, and it's just off Flip Road. Now up here, I'm smiling because I don't know what you guys call them, but over here, there's a ginnel. Now, there's some arguments as to what a ginnel is, but for me, a ginnel is a shortcut, if you will, through two premises, two buildings. So obviously you go through one entrance and you come into the opposite side. Now some people call them snickets, shortcuts. Here in Haslingden, I think they're called ginnels, but this one is quite old, and you can find it and we can get to it. I'll show you guys. And there it is. That's the ginnel. Let's go through it. So what you're looking at here, guys, and that wind that is blowing through here, it's like a wind tunnel. But what you're looking at here is an authentic Victorian ginnel, just off Charles Lane in Haslingden. That were it, that's the ginnel. What do you call them where you live? Do you have these little snickets, shortcuts, ginnels on your caught up bloody fence? Do you get these places where you are? If so, what do you call them? But yeah, just a slight detour for you guys. I just thought I'd show you that while we're here on Charles Lane. So yeah, so going back to Thomas and Margaret. So Thomas, once he'd been found guilty of manslaughter, not murder, but manslaughter of his wife Margaret, he was forced to do 12 years penal servitude, basically 12 years time. Now, whether or not that was hard labour or not, I don't know. But it's a sad case. I mean, he did 12 years for the murder or the manslaughter of his wife. He was lucky he wasn't hung, that's all I'll say. But I suppose in a way, if it's manslaughter, different charge to murder, isn't it? But he did 12 years. Now, it's a sad case, and like I said, you can't condone beating anybody, male or female. It doesn't matter who you are, what relationship you're in, you can't condone it. But looking back, it's more sad because, you know, they were both mild-mannered, they were both normal working people, they got on with other people, they weren't troublemakers. And something escalated that evening which pushed Thomas over the edge slightly. Now, some say it was because she kept spending his money. Every time he gave her money, she was spending it on drink, you know, things like that. She was frittering it away. And this one evening, it's just pushed him over the edge. But still, it's no excuse. But yeah, he did 12 years servitude. Sad tale. So we're walking down Charles Lane now to head back home. Like I said, we only live literally 5 minutes away from here. But as you can see, right in front, the mill in front, that is Springvale Mill. And Springvale Mill, God, it's been here, I don't know, well over 100 years plus. But look how neat it looks. People are still working there. They're using it as units, storage facilities. But it's still there and it's maintained. And this is what needs to go on more, especially in the UK. Instead of buildings being knocked down just to build houses or newer structures, and there's some newer structures to my left I'll show you in a minute, but rather than knocking them down and building these horrible grey, soulless looking structures, keep these. If they can be reused, reuse them. I mean, look at these now to the left. Horrible. I mean, I know they serve a purpose, people are in work, I get that, but they're horrible. Compare it to that. I mean, it's magnificent. It's maintained, it's looked after. Stop knocking these things down. Stop torching them for insurance jobs. Because let's be honest, we all eat tails. But yeah, it's a marvellous structure. Springvale Mill. Still being used to this day for different purposes. So if you like this story, guys, don't forget to leave us a comment down below. Also give us a thumbs up if you like, as well as subscribe to the channel. We're always bringing new stories to it. We're out and about, we like doing these things, and especially more so now weather's a lot brighter. But don't forget, give us a like, comment, subscribe, and in the meantime, guys, as I always say, take care of yourselves.